Salaam alaikum. This is not your usual podcast. We have two people on camera, and we have two people off camera for their own reasons, whatever they may be. And so the topic for today, as we posted before, was what does unity look like? So just for everybody's information, we're both live and recording this at the same time. So people can watch it on YouTube later on the Sakeenah Community Hub channel. And yes, I know we can record or download the live video, but high quality videos on YouTube is better than phone microphone. Because I don't know if everybody can hear us this far, but it's okay. They'll let us know. And yeah, so I think we should start. Bismillah.
Bismillah.
So the question for today is, what does unity look like? First, let's start to you guys, since everybody's here as a live audience. To you guys. So whoever wants to quit can go.
I don't know. You guys go first. I don't know. Gotta need some time to think.
Mm-hmm. I can give like a snippet of like just something to get started, not necessarily like what it is.
Sure.
Just something to get started. Does unity mean that everybody has to be like? Does you have to be like think the same? Like everybody has to think the same? Is that part of unity, or that like a portion of what unity is made up of, or does that play any role?
I think it plays a little bit of a role. I would say you have to think the same to be in part of unity. I believe like it's a
some foundational beliefs.
Some foundation has to be the same.
Similar, at least similar.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be everything. I would say it's like a majority.
Okay. So when it comes to like, when there's a huge difference, how do you keep those foundational beliefs like solid enough to have like unity among people? Like for example, like today we have multiple religions, Islam included, in terms of having different sects.
Mm-hmm.
How do you
unite people?
Yeah, solidify foundation. What do you do? Do I just go around and talk to people about the foundation, or do I remind people more a bit about it, or how can I work my way up to achieving unity, or can I achieve it at all?
That's a good question, to be honest.
Like, is it even possible in today's time, in today's context?
If you want to unite the entire world,
like I wouldn't say you could do that. I mean, depends. You need one in your community, in your because there's different levels. I'd say when it comes to unity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like unity as a whole Muslim ummah.
Let's say I want a community.
In a community, I say that's possible. That's very possible. There's always gonna be people that disagree with your views, but however, could still respect your views. So that could be a little bit of unity, I believe. Doesn't necessarily have to align with your views 100%.
With unity, I would say like we have to go back to the predecessors. Like we have to go back to our sources, right? And probably see some ideal situations where unity was achieved in the Muslim Ummah. So for example, during the time of the Prophet, how was there unity there, right? How was there like. And then even after that, the companions, how did they keep unity?
Yeah.
And after that, the next generation, the Tabi'un, right? How did they keep the unity?
Yeah.
And you can work from that kind of a analysis and then try to. Well, of course, today's society and our changes, it's more like it causes. There's more diversity, you could say, but you would still want to develop a unity based on the previous sources.
What if the same level of differences that exist today, to some level, also existed at that time?
It's possible, yeah. Similar, like kind of problems and situations. You can take examples from in the past as well. And it's not just the Prophet's time is a good example. There were other times during our Muslim history that we achieved unity and were able to unite together for a common cause, right? To whether it was like to take back Jerusalem, right? Palestine, or whether it was to form a functioning in civil society in a government, right? For like our large empires that we had, the Umayyads and the Abbasids, they operated on a very systematic level.
Yeah.
So you can see how they achieve unity work. But you need to, I guess, look back at those examples and then try to
replicate
or try to make it more better. Because for this society, not more better, but like try to see how it adapts to this kind of society. Right? And
can you replicate it?
He's saying take the foundations or take some principles that they applied and apply it specifically with some differences and changes that you need for your specific time and place.
Those foundations were applied to a certain group of people. Huh?
It's like principles, like certain principles that they use to unite people.
Those principles are applied to a specific type of people. Like we haven't grown up in wars. Like I haven't, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't grown up in wars. like I didn't grow up fighting or trying to defend myself from an enemy, like combatant.
Yeah.
I grew up fairly privileged. And if somebody were to if I ever tried to replicate how they did it, and if let's say if a situation comes up that I have to work together with a Muslim who identifies as Shia, how would I go about doing that? Because there are big differences, but what does unity look like in that? Because we have a disagreement. For some, it's a bigger disagreement than others. I'm not going to go into detail of the disagreement because this is not a fiqh podcast. But just generally, people have disagreements.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, people in the past, they were different. They had different situations. Like perhaps they were involved in wars, and we were not. However, our natures are still quite similar.
Okay.
Like we still have a fight or flight response, even though we didn't grow up in the jungle, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of our instincts, a lot of our nature, a lot of our fitra is still similar to the people of the past.
Okay.
So their principles are still applicable. They just might be, you have to take into consideration extra things, like people here are used to extra comforts or something like that, and just apply them slightly differently, but I wouldn't say they're irrelevant or outdated.
Do you think people are like complacent to unify? Like they're lazy to unite?
Or like why haven't they been doing it is what you're asking?
Like
or why is there less unity now?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say less unity, I would just say the question being like, are Muslims lazier? Like why are Muslims lazier now if they are at all to unite? Because you can, and sisters can talk in this too, because we're brothers and sisters too. So why it's like I don't know about you.
It's lazy, that's one aspect of it, but also courage and a cause. You need a cause, like you need to unite on a certain cause, or like the cause, like the cause is Islam, but you need to know like how you're gonna come together for it, right? And there was Sheikh Ahmad, right?
Yeah.
He used to be during the 1900, like he was a big dawah person, right?
Yeah.
And he used to always call out people saying that, why do you guys not give dawah? Why do you guys like sit back at home and why are you afraid? Why do you have an inferiority complex or something, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have that courage to speak out and also unite together, you know, within our Muslim brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah.
And that's an aspect that is lacking. You're right, kind of like laziness, and also like a not urgency or just a relaxed state of like comfort. As we're enjoying our life right now, what needs to change? Like we don't need to change it. Like, we don't want to get into conflict, but it's like we're still seeing Islam like declining within our societies, right? But we do have to unite. That's something that's very important.
So what do you think stops, for example, 4 or 5 or whoever, whichever number there is, because nobody knows how many people are sitting in this room. But let's say all of us sitting in this room, potentially we have different opinions. All of us, right? So if...
Not potentially, definitely.
Okay.
We know.
Okay, definitely. Yeah. In some cases we have extreme different opinions. Right? But how does one go about because there's a reason we're not touching controversial topics, and I probably won't touch on controversial topics because of the difference of opinions. Right? So, for example, there's a lot of controversial topics that we can talk about, going from polygamy or polygyny all the way to like your beard size. Right? There's a lot of controversial topics, but the moment we touch on it, why do you think it makes like it deters people? Like if this guy said, your beard can be such length, why is it all of a sudden for somebody it's a turn off? Or like you spoke about like a cause. People don't stand behind a cause just because they look at a guy and be like, well, this guy doesn't raise his pants above his ankles, therefore his cause is a waste too. Why do you think that happens?
Because there's how they're brought up one way of teaching or learning. I don't think they were probably primarily taught the other types of opinions out there.
Yeah.
Or they're taught one way, right? Again, I know for a fact for like a while, like I don't know how broad it was, like how the difference of opinions were regarding certain issues until like recently, right? So I think even as starting from middle school, high school, you don't really know that, there's an opinion where you can do this, but there's an opinion you can do this, but it's all within Islam. Like if you follow this opinion and someone follows out, that person's not out of the fold of Islam, you know what I mean? Because sometimes when you follow a certain opinion, some people might just be like, that's straight, that's wrong, bro, like why are you doing that, So therefore basically saying what you're doing is not right.
Yeah.
Right, so it all stems from you learning one type of one type of Islam, I say, like I don't know how to put it into words properly, but one way of learning.
So what's the limit to unify on?
What do you mean, like what's the limit?
So like if Muslims were to ever unite, is there a limit on what we can unite on? And like meaning if we unite, inshallah, if we unite,
Inshallah.
right? Is there a limit to like the things we can unite on? And
at what point is someone not part of the unity, or can they not be a part of us, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like at what point do you stop unifying? Because for example, if I say, look, I'm in my community, this is all community based. So let's say, look, I want to work with like everybody in my community, regardless of religion.
Okay.
Right. And me being a Muslim, I want to work with a Christian, then I want to work with a Jewish individual.
Okay.
I don't know what to call like instead of Christian, what do I call a Jewish person?
Yeah.
I think it's Jewish.
I don't want to say a Jew because that sounds derogatory, but a Jewish person,
Yeah.
and a Christian person, and it's okay. Yeah.
You lost the number.
And so if I wanted to unify, obviously, it's given that look, we can't use our platforms for our personal gain. Like for example, like if sometimes, and this exists in like every religion. There's a lot of like holy, like overly holy type of people that try to recruit mass, like recruit mass to their religion and through like fake miracles sometimes. I've seen it predominantly in the Christian tradition and some Islamic tradition as well, like in places that they might not be like studying Islam as much, and they get money from a lot of people, from thousands of people, but when it comes to like unification with same Muslims and versus non-Muslims, what do you think is harder to do? To unify amongst Muslims or unify with non-Muslims? What's more harder?
I don't know.
In today's context in the community.
I mean, it depends though, right? Because if a community, so look, obviously for Muslims, we're already united too because we all believe in Allah, right? So that's a major, something major that we can unify on, obviously, because we all believe in Allah, we all believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? For a non-Muslims, first you have to come to the conclusion that, like, you know,
establish what you're getting on.
Exactly, right? So I believe in Allah. A Christian might believe Jesus is God, right? So now you have to first establish that, okay, who's God, and then all these other things come, right? For a Muslim, at least, okay, we believe in the same God. Now it comes whether what that community is predominantly what's it called, what the belief is, like, if that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when it comes to whether it's harder, I don't know, because that's actually a good question. I wouldn't know what I think personally it'd be harder to unify someone that's a non-Muslim than someone that is Muslim, because someone that's not Muslim doesn't believe in the religion in the first place, right?
So when I ask a question like what does unity look like, what's the first thing that pops into head in the community?
I don't know. For me, when I picture just people just standing together.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like when you ask somebody, like, you know what I mean?
Going back to your first, like your first question, like if non-Muslims can create more unity than like interfaith can create more unity,
you can have more unity
versus
with non-Muslims.
I feel like you can create more unity with interfaith rather than having having unity with Muslims, because I think people connect like the hereafter, like you're going to, you know, they can throw a blanket statement. I think it's like the heaven and hell people may want, like when you're in the Muslim category, it's more like nitpicking and saying,
yeah.
like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you don't know too much, like if you're interfaith, you don't know too much about you just stay your distance. But people like to get in your business when you're. How to explain it?
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Like that's kind of what I was trying to say too, but it's just kind of hard to really put it in words properly without.
Does it get problematic?
For the lay people, I feel, you know the saying, like it says, too much detail is like not too good.
Yeah.
The devil's in the detail.
Yeah.
Sometimes people fuss about the details, right? Yeah. Some people fuss and make problems about the details, right?
Yeah.
When you get down to it, and we argue about these differences when we don't even have knowledge about them, right?
Yeah.
We do things. Like we pray a certain way, but we can't really source it. We say our sheikh did it, and some other person comes and argues with us, and we argue back and we say that we have some authority, but like we don't.
Whereas if you're trying to unite with a non-Muslim, you focus on more general things like, okay, do you believe there's a creator? Do you believe humans should not be oppressed? Things like that.
Shall not kill, like
rob,
General stuff. But even so, Muslims should start to agree on these, like they should start to look over these small, like not small, but it might be major, but like still the details. But there's a way to like I guess we say educate.
See, when it comes to this, what it is, because so now when you talk about unity, right, the topics change. So like for example, how we just said for like when it comes to non-Muslim and a Muslim, we talk about things about we don't believe you shouldn't kill. Whatever, right? Because that's what we can talk about. Because we don't know about that person doesn't know about my religion. I don't know about this. So we talk about the layman terms. See, when you talk within like a Muslim to Muslim, we all know that killing is haram, stealing is haram. All of these things are haram. So you wouldn't talk about those things. You talk about something that's more in depth, right? So like even when it comes to that, the topics change too. So it's really different, because for a non-Muslim. The discussion will be different, and for Muslims, the discussion is different. When it comes about unity too. So I think we're going off I don't know if I'm going off topic. Like I think
it's interesting.
Sorry, you wanna go?
Yeah, no. But why? But I think that's something interesting you brought up. Like the topics kind of change. They do change, but like the topics that you discuss with the Christians. Yeah. Like they could also be discussed with the Muslims, but we don't do that. Right? Yeah. Why don't we do that? Like because sometimes the Muslims also need that reminder that God is one. Like we don't need to steal. We shouldn't steal. We shouldn't commit these petty crimes against our own brothers, right? Yeah. Those same topics could still be relevant among Christians and Muslims too. Yeah. But we don't remind our Muslim brothers about these topics that you're suggesting, right? And so we talk about like more detailed, like smaller issues that cause like we try to find mistakes within our brothers and sisters.
But it's more of like the brothers know it's wrong. It's just that they're just committing the sins, right?
Yeah, something. Yeah.
But like they do know like, okay, this is wrong, but I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
However, when you explain it to a non-Muslim, you're just saying like, oh yeah, these are fundamental. This is what we believe is right. This is what is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I see what you're coming from though.
Yeah.
She wants to be a part.
I always wondered that like when somebody like when a Muslim, for example, speaks to a non-Muslim, a lot of the time that you guys can tell me if you had a different case. A lot of times it feels like that a Muslim, when they speak to a non-Muslim, they feel like they know the religion in and out.
So when you speak to a non-Muslim, the non-Muslim knows.
Yeah, all of a sudden Muslims knows.
Oh, a Muslim knows. Okay.
Muslims don't do this. Even if they're wrong, they
Yeah.
say it as if they know.
Yeah.
Like Muslims don't do this. Muslims don't do this.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like when we're talking amongst each other, all of a sudden, people might say like, "Oh, I don't know," or it always ends up being one of the two extremes. Either they think they know it really well, or they don't know at all, and they just follow what has been given to them.
Yeah.
Right. But with non-Muslims, it's like, all of a sudden, if one of my friends is non-Muslim, he or she approaches me about like, Islam and what, just any random general question about Islam, I'm gonna get up like, yeah, Islam is this and this, right? But to a stranger, it's hard to do. But I'm talking about like friend-wise. But when it comes to like the same friends in a Muslim setting, it's a different story. Right? Nobody's that eager to be like, oh yeah, Muslim said.
Because you can get called out on it. Someone might call you out, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. If somebody in a non-Muslim realm doesn't call you out, I've also heard same things from non-Muslims being told wrong things.
Yeah, but like that's why they feel confident making claims in front of non-Muslims, because they know they won't get called out, because most likely that person doesn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the non-Muslim not gonna, even if the non-Muslim thinks that hey, what he's saying is wrong, he's not gonna call him out because he might be like, oh, this guy's a Muslim.
He probably
knows more than me, you know. So it's.
So what's one thing you guys think that we should focus on then to unite both Muslim and non-Muslims?
I think one thing is like the character in which we do it, because many times like we take our own Muslim brothers and sisters for granted, and when we speak to them with like hostility. Like, we don't give them. Sometimes we don't give them the same, like compassion that we would give to non-Muslims. When we speak to non-Muslims, we're like more understanding, more compassionate, and we take our time with it. And then you speak to your Muslims, and you're just like impatient, and you start fighting. It's like when sometimes you're more when you speak to it's like. You can be more mean to your loved ones than you are to strangers, right?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Sometimes you'll lash out at your own family.
Oh, for sure.
But then you go outside, you're polite to your boss. It's like, really, why is that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one place we can start, is like our character when dealing with people, Muslim and non-Muslim, and just being patient, being understanding, and being open-minded, and only speaking the truth, right? Like you said, some people will act differently in front of different people. They'll act confident in front of non-Muslims, and then they'll be more humble in front of Muslims. That's not honesty.
Yeah.
So,
like, I feel like there's like, which I 100% agree. Character is the one place to start. I feel like it's a lot of people like are very hesitant to give the question to an expert. From amongst Muslims, I'm talking about, within like if Muslims are talking to each other, right? So, for example, I feel like when an expert, whether it be a scholar or a person of knowledge in general, they always speak in a very different manner than a person who's not.
of course.
Right? They don't resort to like personal attacks. A lot of lay people do if they don't agree with you, and when like for example, if I'm speaking to a scholar or a person of knowledge, they never, even if they know the deepest and the darkest secrets of something or somebody, they never say it. And this could be like where a normal individual would go like, look, if I tell you the secret, it'll greatly benefit you, but they don't say it at all, because at the end of the day, the focus is that, look, at the end of the day, whoever I know the secret about, the person still believes in Allah, still believes in the Prophet ﷺ as the last messenger, and still follows the tenets of faith in Islam, right? And that's where their differences stop. Everything else because they're an expert, they know there's differences on, right? So when it comes to, for example, a non-Muslim, let's say if I'm talking to a Christian, in a community, obviously, if we're both honest individuals of our faith, it should be an understanding between each other that, look, we're not gonna touch on topics that are sensitive to both of our communities. So, because then we'll end up antagonizing each other. Then everybody else who's watching us is gonna antagonize everybody else in their life. So, for example, if I'm on, let's say we have a Christian on this podcast, and I make it a point to discuss Tawheed versus Trinity. It might get heated at some point, right? Because it's a big difference. It's a foundational difference between the religions, right? So, in terms of like unifying, character-wise, yeah, it's a great point. I feel like every non-Muslim should feel secure talking to me. They should feel like, look, this guy is not going to try to convert me. This guy is not going to try to belittle my religion. This guy is not going to try to prove me wrong. Knowing that he thinks he knows the truth. Right? So, I don't know. You guys tell me. I've seen a lot of guys approach every conversation as if like they're like everybody knows as a Muslim we know Islam is the truth. But to approach a conversation arrogantly to say that Islam is the truth and you're wrong, like where every conversation with a person of a different faith seems like a debate. That seems a little bit off-putting to me because it's
and like in debates they are aggressive in their intellect. So like for example, when there are Christians and you see on YouTube, they think that that's their dawah, like using all this evidence and then like proving the other person right, he's gonna convert because of all the facts. That's not how your debater is going to like convert. Like they're gonna convert because of ultimately your character, in my opinion. Like they all this evidence like Christianity is wrong, but okay, what's that gonna do at the end of the day? It's
about how you say it and what you say it. Both. It's not just about what you say.
I honestly don't get the culture of debate. Like I get it that to a certain extent. Like you learn things, you go head to head, sure, but it's your time. But I honestly don't get why there is a need to publicize debate or to like it's almost become like watching anime or like any type of cartoon. Like, oh, this guy's about to fight this guy, let's do it. It's gonna be exciting.
And that's already disunity, right?
Yeah, that you're already causing friction because no matter who it is, it could be an atheist versus a Muslim, Christian versus an agnostic, whatever it is. You're already starting the process of disunity because already people before the thing starts, they're gonna pick a side. Yeah. Already. Yeah. And as soon as they pick a side, the other guy's automatically gonna be wrong. He doesn't know much.
I kind of noticed as well. Sorry to cut you off. Even some of the YouTube titles will be like, "This person shuts down this person," or "This person totally destroys this person." And it was funny. Like I started clicking, but I noticed that though for sure.
Yeah, like in my head, I think like at the end of the day, the person you're talking to, you want to see in Jannah, do you not?
For sure.
Like if you want to see them in Jannah, then treat them as like an honored guest, because they are. You are not going to shut down an honored guest. You're not going to embarrass an honored guest. And you're not going to try to intellectually disprove somebody. Because the idea is to have a sincere discussion.
You can try to intellectually disprove somebody while having a sincere discussion, right? So I think sometimes the debates, like, they're staged to be controversial, right? But if they're carried out in the right way, you can have a sincere discussion because the other person truly thinks they're right? They have their evidences for it, and if you can logically break down why you think they're incorrect sincerely, and they see it, it could change their life, and it could change the lives of the people who are watching as well. But again, the people watching need to have the right attitude when they're watching that debate. It should be for educational purposes, right?
What's more in your control? People watching or what you're doing?
What you're doing.
Okay.
For example, if I know the people watching, for example, the people watching now, if we set this up like a debate, because I generally, I'm more than happy to call anybody.
He's calling out everybody.
He's calling out.
There's probably not a lot of opinions there that probably agree with. That's why I'm very like hesitant on saying whatever my personal opinion is. But like I'm more than happy to call anybody and have a chat. And a chat, not like a
formal debate.
Yeah, I'm not looking for arguments for and against.
Okay.
I literally want to know more about why you think the way you think. And it's just gonna be, we're gonna have a rational discussion. We're not gonna go like to the point where I'm gonna start even indirectly insulting the way you live. Because realistically, when I talk to another person, and if they feel like I'm insulting the way they live, if they feel like it, I'm not even saying if I did it, if they ever feel like I'm insulting the way they live, that's automatically a minus point for me. As a Muslim who's supposed to show the most sublime, the best level of character to a person that I'm supposed to make them feel like I'm approachable, they can talk to me, I'm easygoing, I'm not harsh, I'm not gonna make you feel bad, I'm not gonna make you feel low to anybody, right? If that's the character we're trying to like replicate, like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So like when it comes to like debating somebody or even intellectual, like shouldn't I keep in mind who's watching me? And automatically when I think about who's watching me, shouldn't your mind automatically go towards like, okay, maybe I shouldn't hold this, because automatically people are gonna be like, Muslims are gonna be like, yeah man, good job.
Yeah.
And some Christians might get pissed. Some Christians might gonna be like, oh yeah, this Muslim guy is onto something. Great, right?
But the nature of debate is it
Yeah, like the nature of debate within itself calls for picking sides, right? Because I see videos all the time of like Muslims completely embarrassing atheists, and everybody clapping in the audience.
But sometimes topics are not settled completely. Sometimes it's ambiguously. There's still gray area and room for interpretation where some people lean towards one side, some people lean towards another. Yeah. But then you can understand and you can appreciate the differences. Like, okay, on this topic, it's more complicated. It's not just black and white. Yeah. Despite hearing both sides, I can see why someone would choose either. Yeah. So you can come to that conclusion as well. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you choose a side and you put down the other side for whatever reason. So again, it's how the person who's watching the debate reacts to it. And like you said, you can't control that as a person having the debate, but you're having the debate to discuss ideas, to logically discuss ideas. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. It's like a lecture where someone is calling you out on things that they think are wrong, and you respond to that.
Okay, if we go over like a general debate format, right? You're rebutting, and you're proving the other person wrong, right? Which proving somebody wrong through speech, I understand, because proving somebody wrong, even that requires somebody who knows how to talk to everybody. If somebody knows a lot but doesn't know how to talk, it's still gonna be a problem. They might know what's right, but they don't know how to say it.
Well, she the way to come out, right? Yeah, for sure.
So if one person that knows a lot but doesn't know how he or she is coming off, the majority of people are going to be like, oh, this guy, they're going to start antagonizing the whole group because of that one guy. And now everybody becomes a back and forth. For example, every single time, whether it be on TikTok, any social media, I see a lot of Muslims refuting everything they see, if they disagree with it. Them being on TikTok, and their whole job on TikTok is refuting everything on a TikTok video, whatever they see that doesn't go against Islam, and Muslims are seeing it, right? Now let's say if we apply the same level of attention and focus primarily on our community, that we've put the attention on internationals. If we had everybody in the community as much attention as they give to scrolling through TikTok and watching videos that disagree with Islam and focusing on their community, no Muslim would be on TikTok refuting not un-Islamic videos. Right? And the way they refute it is like, well, this guy, what the hell are you on about? It's not, you don't have to say somebody is an idiot. You just have to make them feel like they are. That's it. I don't have to call somebody an idiot.
To hurt his feelings.
Yeah, to make them feel like, oh, why would I ever listen to a Muslim? Like, realistically, if I was going through TikTok, why would I ever listen to a Muslim? Because some Muslims think that they know everything, therefore everything is wrong. That because what they know is right and everything else is wrong. Which might be true, great. Some Muslims are like, they'll stitch a video, oh, this guy is saying what's wrong. When there's a legitimate difference of opinion, but one person thinks they're right. So this guy is doing what's wrong, therefore, bun it. Forget this guy. Listen to me. I'm wondering where does this culture come from? Why is this culture amongst Muslims acceptable now? Where I can go to just any Christian, any person on a video and look at their video. If I come to the conclusion that it's un-Islamic, I have to refute it. If I'm on TikTok, I have to refute it because who else is gonna do it?
It's my duty.
Yeah, humans are gonna be misguided because if I don't make a video against this specific one that's un-Islamic, Muslims are gonna go astray. I don't think Allah would let his religion die that easy.
Yeah.
Right. So.
I have 2 points. Ego, but then another point that when you were talking earlier, it was just the essence of how it was back then and how that there was how refuting was done back then, and how that there's a private a middleman, you don't just go straight to a debate. There's a private conversation between one another.
A lot of it was done through books.
Yeah, that's.
And it was done by scholars.
Yeah.
So refutation before of anything was done through books, and the scholars were best friends.
So it's not necessarily
it's not a
hating someone with the disagreement amongst peers.
Yeah, it's like, well, this person said this, but I disagree because of this evidence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. In this, how it is now is once you feel, if someone is says that this person, we disagree with his views, or what people assume is like, this guy, these people don't like him, he's on to the next level thing, blah blah blah. That's not the case. Like me, I have my beliefs within Islam. He has his beliefs within Islam. We just disagree.
Yeah.
Which is acceptable, but people don't understand that. People just think, one guy's right, one guy's wrong.
I find it very interesting that everybody believes that it's their job to save Islam. I just find that hard to believe. Everybody, Allah appointed everybody to save Islam. I understand to a certain extent where they think that there is their responsibility if they're making videos on TikTok. Sure. But you can make videos on TikTok showing Islam. You can make videos without specifically refuting something. There's few people on TikTok that are making videos and they're not necessarily talking negatively about anybody else. They're just giving information about Islam. Mm-hmm. That's it. Right? But
I have a question about that though.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying, but then it can be taken to the extreme. It's like, what if someone's feelings still get hurt about you expressing your ideas in a certain way? What if it still makes them feel like you're saying the way they're living is wrong? You can't. For example, if you're talking about perhaps the benefits of praying, right? What if someone starts feeling bad about the way they were living? What if it feels like to them that you're making an attack against them for not living the right way?
This is why you should know your audience.
But I'm trying to say that there's always going to be someone who gets offended by what you're saying, even if you do it with the best character. So
100%. I'm not saying that nobody will, everybody will like you,
mm-hmm.
right? But it helps to first properly assess who you're talking to. When it's a TikTok video, maybe if guys are on or guys and girls are on TikTok already, maybe not talk about how everybody needs to pray 5 times a day. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows Muslims need to pray 5 times a day. But I think it's very insensitive. Because I don't think the problem is that they're not praying. I think the problem is deeper than that. And the only way to solve it is to show good character. Is to show this guy, this girl, who might be doing what they're telling others to do, but they're very casual about it. They're very easygoing about it. They don't they don't give off the type of attitude that, look, if I'm not even gonna hang out with somebody who doesn't do anything that I do. You're not even worth my time. Like, people are making videos on like asking brothers around, like, you know, different, like how many wives they want, this and that. Like, people making videos like that, and when they make other videos like saying, well, the day of judgment is close, this is close, start doing this, start doing that, and you're gonna end up making people feel bad. So, when the one instance when the Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba something that made them feel bad, what was he told right after? To not make them feel bad. Go back and tell them good news, tell them positive things. Not that, oh, I just came back, like, this is I'm paraphrasing, it's not the exact same thing. Not that I just came back, I saw Jahannam, oh guys, no, be afraid. Like, watch out. Right? Because people start feeling down, and feeling down and sad is more of a problem for somebody's faith than, because that will lead to being despairing. That will lead to being like, okay, I'm already far gone, so what's the point? Which is a legitimate thought in a lot of people's heads, that if I'm already this far gone, what's the point of me praying? Right? So when somebody highlights, this is mainly on TikTok, because TikTok is used now for like
so you're talking about like etiquettes of giving dawah, kind of.
Yeah, there's people on TikTok that's legitimately giving fatwa. They get questions on their comments and they give fatwa. Like, oh, is keeping a dog haram? I'm like, you don't know. There's multitudes of opinion. You're not a scholar. You might be just a hafiz. Great. Stick to maybe just reciting Quran. Right? To answer, like, the people are answering like crazy questions that you should be going to a scholar for, and on top of that, you should be going to a local scholar for. Right? And when they answer it, and they don't stop, like the
egos.
They think that like they're the answer to Muslims' problems, because they're not stopping. Every single video is a question from a commenter. And now this person is saying or making claims about like, he might be, like, I saw a video of an individual saying he might be able to pay $100,000 mahar, but can he recite like this? And the guy was reciting beautifully according to him. Do people not see a problem in that? He's saying any brother might be able to pay 100,000 mahar to a sister, but can he recite like this? Who are you reciting for?
I think
Then the basic value of Islam and the recitation of the words of Allah goes out the window, because you're just gonna make a TikTok video to show how well you can recite. That's a huge problem. And that same person is answering fiqh questions on TikTok videos, 10 seconds, 60 seconds TikTok videos, to explain where fiqh questions have massive differences of opinion. And he doesn't bat a single eye. He's like, I'm obviously right, because you're obviously wrong, right? So where does that, like, where did we go wrong there? Like, who gave everybody the idea that, look, let's make a video discussing whether like people are following different schools are actually Muslims or not. Let's make a video. Like, it would be crazy for me to
Do you think it's appropriate for some people to make those videos?
Who are those some people?
Qualified, educated scholars.
Okay, so now we have to talk about who's qualified. So if it's a scholar, 100%, go ahead. Okay. Because discourse between scholars, that's different. Even disagreements between scholars, that's different.
Okay, and what if it's students of knowledge who studied for years, they're not at the level of scholars yet, and they're making videos about complex topics which they study?
No.
They shouldn't be doing that.
Even if I studied the deepest fiqh of everything, like the whole point of being a scholar is through ijazah, through somebody gives you the ability, like somebody deems you ready, right? So if I study, even if I have an opinion on something, I'm not gonna put it publicly. I'm not gonna tell people that, look, this is it. Privately, it's a different discussion. Privately, because publicly there's more danger, right? But even if I have the most information on something and I'm still a student of knowledge, right? And I haven't advanced further, right? Then that becomes a huge issue. Because why haven't I advanced further? Is there something deficient in
It's
me?
just time. It's just time. You have not put in the years required to receive that.
So practice patience. Don't talk. Right? Like there's a reason look, you're diminishing the value of a scholar. They have to go gruesome amounts through work. Like they have to suffer through so many mental issue cases, like for their own health.
I get it. That's the thing though. Like I'm saying, a lot of our scholars are just too busy to handle all the onslaught of people making like people are just criticizing Islam in different ways, and it's actually affecting Muslims, right? So when students of knowledge bring refutations against these specific points made by others attacking Islam in a very aggressive manner, I personally don't see a problem with it. Sometimes when they're sticking to facts.
No, I think that's different though. I think from what he was trying to say is from Muslims talking about around other Muslims regarding questions about fiqh, difference of opinions, whatever. I don't think it's about like I think if like a non-Muslim, for example, is attacking Islam regarding some questions, and you have enough knowledge to kind of refute what he's saying, yeah, sure, but like when it comes to questions regarding like certain topics that you need like a specific amount of knowledge or scholar permission to talk about, then yeah, that's different, right? So
but with knowledge comes etiquette. Like etiquette is, I would say etiquette is 70%. Knowledge is 30%, right? If somebody knows, great. So you know somebody did something wrong objectively. By objectively, I mean there's no disagreement. So there's no other way out. So for example, if somebody, this is a very like basic plain example. If somebody prayed 3 rakats of Asr, right? And you know they did something wrong, for sure, and you know there is no difference of opinion that Asr can't have 2 rakats, right? Even then, etiquette is necessary. It's not just as simple of going up to them, even privately, and being like, I think you shouldn't have. Because that actually happened to me a long time ago. Like a long time ago. I had no clue. Before I had no idea how many rakats were in Salah, in any Salah. So I was with my friend, and he actually ushered me to eat Asr.
oh no.
And I was like, okay. I was like, why not? Very stupid of me. So why not? So I ended up praying 2. But I think we'll come to that. I ended up praying 2 rakats. And he didn't say a word to me. He said, well, I was wondering that, you prayed, I noticed you prayed 2 rakats. Is it like a different, where did you learn that? Which teacher at school? I had no idea what he was talking about. So I just gave like a, BS excuse. Being embarrassed, I was like, oh, I don't know. I didn't want to say I don't know. So, but then when I went home, I looked into it, I memorized all the number of rakats for every salah, and since then I haven't done anything. But I have no animosity towards it. He didn't come and tell me, there's 4 rakats in Asr, right? Saying it like that, it's even done to me. But, inquiring or being inquisitive, be like, I'm just wondering, is this like a, I just want to know. He came to me like, I want to know, is this, is this a thing? Can I learn this from somebody? He put me at a higher rank, knowing or not knowing, or me knowing that I'm not at that higher rank of respect. And automatically, I learned myself. Right? That's what I mean when it comes to like a student of knowledge. I'd rather have somebody who knows very limited and is not a student of knowledge but has very good character and etiquette than have a student of knowledge who knows a lot but doesn't have good etiquette. Because good character goes a long way. Even if you don't know, even if you just know one ayah of the Quran, good character still goes a long way.